All right, so here we are at Andrews Trade School. As usual, my students are situated over here. Say hi.
Hi.
All right, and we're going to do a lesson on globalization. So, we should be somewhat familiar with this concept. By the way, again, thank you for all doing well in the Regents. That was really cool that you guys all sat for that and tried. Like, I really appreciate that. We should be somewhat familiar with this definition, but I just kind of want to go over it again and make sure. What is globalization?
It is something spread around the world.
Okay, let's do this. I'm going to take some words that you guys give me and just kind of spread around.
Around
World.
the world.
What else?
Ideas.
Ideas, good. Work together. Angel, you got anything? No. Spread around the world, ideas, working together. Right, look.
Trade.
Say it one more time.
Trade.
Trade, very good. I'm probably screaming right now and I apologize, but I need to use this because it picks up your voices better. It's got like a little Bluetooth microphone. Very good. So, remember, when we want to define words, we can break them in two parts. Global, the world. That's right. Globalization, I'm not positive, but I think it implies some type of verbiage or action. So, I think a decent definition we could make out of this here is working together throughout the world to spread ideas and benefit each other through trade and economics. How does that sound? You guys just came up with the definition. I just put it all together. All right. Are we comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Sounds good? Okay. So, here's what I want us to do. I'm going to hand you one sheet at a time so I'm not overwhelming you with crap. And I'll grab you some pens. I want you to do this. It's really quick. It's just like 2 questions. And they're kind of fun questions. It's not like, you know, when did the D-Day invasion happen?
You do that one. June 6th, right?
June 6th. Yep.
That's right.
So it says,
Today's the 5th.
we're focusing on this box right here. It says, in the 15th century, people communicated over long distances by, and then it says, traded over long distances by. What I want you to do is say, today, we communicate over long distances by, ... you answer, trade over long distances by, ... Go ahead. It's meant to be creative. There's, you know, just do your best.
So we're doing the bottom part there, this here, and we'll see how it goes.
Don't be afraid to look up here either. Some of this stuff might jog your memory, give you some ideas. Good. let's take just a couple more minutes. Couple more minutes. All right. What do we got? I'll erase this. How did we communicate over long distances in the 1500s? What were some of the methods used?
Writing letters.
Writing letters, good. How did we get the letters to where we wanted them to go?
Pigeons.
Pigeons sometimes, carrier pigeons.
On
Bottle.
messengers or horseback.
Messengers on horseback was the primary method, yep.
Yeah.
So-
People put like messages in bottles.
Messages in bottles, yeah, that could work in some cases.
Yeah.
There were some that did it much more efficiently than others. For example, the Mongolians is the famous story of the marathon runner in Greece that ran like 24 miles to deliver a message. You'd basically have a sequence of people every 20 miles or so, and that was their primary function. Stand there, a message would come, they'd grab it, and they'd run to the next person and hand it to them and run to the next person, right? So the Mongolians were very efficient at this, but efficient might have meant weeks or months before you received news from a distant land. So how do we do that today?
Social media.
Social media,
Texting each other on each other's phones.
text,
Video
yep.
chat.
Snapchat,
Video chat.
video chat, right?
FaceTime, stuff like
I remember the first time I saw an advertisement for, I think it was something called Dragonfly, and it was, you could speak into it and it would write for you. And I thought it was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. I said, this is gonna take over the world. We're not gonna have to type anymore. And now it seems like such a basic, whatever type invention. But at that time, it would seem so revolutionary. So
Yeah.
we are just continuing to evolve over such short spans of time. That was only 10 years ago.
But wouldn't you find it creepy if it takes what you say and types it for you?
Yeah, I mean, but I can do the same thing right now. But Google's listening to every word I'm saying, and then it's going to serve me advertising later today on a Mongolian history book. You know, it's all creepy. The world's getting a little creepy. Apple's a lot better at that, by the way. Apple doesn't spy on you as much. Google likes to spy on you so they can serve you advertising. So,
Oh, Amazon too.
traded over long distances. What are some of the ways we traded over long distances?
Boat.
Say it again.
By boat.
By boat, yes.
that. Cars.
Back in the 1500s.
Horse-drawn wagons.
Horse-drawn wagons? Yep.
Shipping goods on foot.
By foot? Yep.
Horse-drawn wagons.
What is
Markets.
yes. What's it called when I have a long procession of people that are moving goods from one area, possibly thousands of miles to another area?
That would be
There's a minivan named after it.
caravan.
Yes. Sargut. Caravan. A caravan is basically a trade envoy, right? Some of the more famous caravans, there was the sub-Saharan caravan that would have to move through the Sahara, which is not fun. The Silk Road was a famous trade network that had really massive caravans move through it. So a caravan would be your primary method of moving a mass amount of goods from one place to another. How do we do that today?
Plane.
Plane? Yes.
On a train.
On a train? Yes.
Well, some people do it like over the internet now. They with like websites. that-
Right, that's a whole different element. So not only can we use plane, train, and as Leilani said earlier, automobile, we can do it from the internet. We can establish what good it is we want to ship or receive, how we're gonna ship or receive it, make payment, done.
Yes, but don't you also have to bring a package to be shipped out?
Not anymore.
Like if you were buying something on eBay from somebody else, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
have
I
to
mean,
ship it out?
you can, people do, but you don't have to. So, it's becoming quite the revolutionized industry, to say the least. So,
You go like.
Go
Would
ahead.
you just sell your stuff on like Walmart.com and all those different stores?
you can sell your stuff on
Like,
Walmart.com?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. What? Like you're talking about your personal items?
Yeah.
Yep. eBay, I mean, there's Facebook Marketplace, all that, right? And then we ship our goods and our vehicles. So we have trade happening at all these different levels, and that's always happening, right? You would have, back in the day, if we're going back to the 1500s, the Italian merchant that is just your average Joe. He's got a boat, puts a bunch of stuff on his boat, maybe he can only fit, you know, the pottery he
Chief
made.
to the main office, chief to the main office.
And it's not that much, but he's gonna sail it over to the Iberian Peninsula, trade, he's gonna take something back that he wants, or just money, and he's gonna go back to Italy, right? So that's on the smaller level, smaller scale. Or you have a big massive ship that does that. So it's the same thing today, right? I can trade my own simple commodity, whatever that is, on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and I can even specify my in my ad. I can say, I would either like money or I would like this in return, right? And then somebody can say, yeah, I agree to that, and we can meet up in our vehicles halfway. Trade commences. Okay. So they give you this here.
I need to use this real quick.
Oh no, dude, I need that for my observation. I'm about to come over here right now.
Oh, I was just gonna send an email real quick to Larry.
No, I'm literally using it right now. So, I'm gonna play this video for you. Hold on to this. I'm gonna play this video for you. And I want this to kind of be the catalyst to kind of help you to consider how are you going to creatively answer some of those questions there. So this is another one where it's not so much focused on being right or wrong. It's asking you to think. Think and predict. Predict a theme. That's what's important. This is the direction social studies is going.
Don't you just switch your camera around?
I did.
Oh.
What the hell?
If you were to make a list of the most important tools farmers use, you probably wouldn't include a mobile phone. But in sub-Saharan Africa, where 7 out of 10 people are farmers, the mobile phone will transform agriculture. How? African farmers tend to get much lower crop yields than farmers on other continents. One reason is that they often don't have good training about what to plant, when to plant, and how to keep soil productive. Mobile phones can change that. Farmers can learn about improved seeds and fertilizer, get educated about techniques like crop rotation, follow the daily weather report, and track market prices, all via text message. And it doesn't stop at farming. Half of the adults around the world do not have access to a traditional bank account. These institutions can't afford to serve poor clients who transact in tiny amounts. But with digital banking, access through a mobile phone, money transfers will happen instantly and securely and at a cost near zero for the user. By 2030, 2 billion people who don't have a bank account today will be saving money and making payments with their phones. And it's a priority to ensure that women have equal access to phones. Right now, the percentage of men who own phones dwarfs the percentage of women. We must close this gap. Ensuring women reap the benefits of mobile phone ownership will improve both agriculture and digital banking, but also advance a host of other health, social, and economic outcomes as well. So in the not-so-distant future, the farmer who uses her phone to grow and sell the best crops will use that same device to deposit the sale into her bank account. Her money will be secure and ready to spend on her family's needs. And that means the life of every African will be healthier and more prosperous.
Alright, good. So, here's what I want you to do. After watching that, I want you to take a look at what I just handed you, which calls on you to give some examples and why did the examples given lead to increased globalization. So the first one should kind of be answered for you after that video. And then I want you to just work down. The boxes look big, it doesn't have to be much. You guys can work in pairs, you're a small group, there's only 3 of you in here, so it's kind of hard to split up into pairs, but by all means, if you want to work as a group. If not, do it privately, and then we're going to come together and discuss it as a group. Try to take about 5 minutes for this. I'm going to also work on it myself. That's what we're working on now. Yeah. That's weird. Yeah. That is weird. Yeah. It's probably experiencing some abuse.
That's how he is.
What's up, buddy? Have a seat. Gotta use the bathroom quick. Go to center back down. Alright. Let's see how we're doing. It's good stuff. So, for those of us that might be struggling to think of some examples, I'm going to give an example. Innovation in transportation. We kind of discussed some of those. A car would be a good example of that. Nowadays, when Amazon's shipping packages, especially around the holidays, you'll see like just an average person show up in an average car and like drop their packages off. They get seasonal work, right? So that's interesting, and it's definitely changing the game up. Same thing with services such as Lyft and Uber. Promotion of an increase in free trade. Oh wow, that's a tough one. I'm not expecting you guys to get that, but I'm interested to see what you got. I would say something well, we'll leave that one alone for now. Yeah, the last two are fairly, availability and access to inexpensive and highly skilled labor. North Korea, actually, believe it or not, is an example of this. They're really, really good at building bronze and copper statues, and they export their labor. Cuba as well. These are both communist countries. Cuba has, I think, more doctors per capita than any other nation in the world. And they export their doctors' labor to receive a commodity in return. So just take a couple more minutes, and then we will talk about it. Switch. All right. No, I record from my headphones. Oh, it might. I don't know. I just do it that way. All right, let's take one more minute and wrap up your thoughts. Done a very good job. Oh, I'll be done with this computer for a while. Use it now.
No, I forgot that I had what I needed on this computer because I updated it this morning.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I can't print off that.
Okay, so innovation in communication technology. What's an example?
Phones.
Yes, phones.
Computers.
Communication is everything. It will absolutely change the world. The internet is going to change everything. We can communicate with somebody in Africa that we don't speak the same language of with emojis. I could send somebody that, I can tell somebody I'm hungry just by sending them pictures of emojis from my phone. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Consider that. Phones, computers.
Even gaming consoles, you would now use your mic and stuff and talk
Yes,
to people.
absolutely. And I'm not even gonna sure. Something that's important to society is, and this is something we're struggling with as Americans today, because we're such a heterogeneous, which means we're all very different. I often joke that rooms at Hillside look like UN delegations because we all look so much different. We all come from such different backgrounds from all over New York State, and we're here, and we're all just like, what's up? I'm from here, and this is my race or ethnicity or culture. Having a thing that we share in common is super, super, super important. And it can be as simple as gaming, right? Like, we could have 20,000 Americans that game online with 20,000 people from China. And your culture, your shared culture with that person from China through communication and the love of the game and the memes that you make around the game and the backstory, you might have a stronger cultural bond with that person from China than you do from somebody down the street. That's interesting. This is what's going to change the world. This is what will hopefully end warfare and hatred and bigotry and xenophobia and all these undesirable characteristics that are the last vestiges of our ancestral brains. So, good. How did they use phones in Africa in that little video I showed you? How was that changing the game there?
Check weather.
You could check the weather. Huge. Huge. How else? Okay, you need to go back to that.